Welcome to The Queen's Lair, a lifestyle podcast. Get inspired by our latest tips and information about small business, entrepreneurship, natural hair, travel, food, and even relationships. Stay tuned for another great episode. I am your host, Renee Patrice. Hey, naturalistas. Our 6th annual Blackberry Naturals Spring Brunch is coming on March 21st, 2020. This is an exclusive brunch for ladies who want to meet, greet, learn, and shop with our hand-picked VIP vendors. Come and recharge your spirit for Women's History Month. We will be honoring powerhouse female bosses. So bring your business cards and come network with us. Your registration includes a beautiful brunch, branding roundtable. We're going to shop, we're going to meet, we're going to learn, a wonderful swag bag, free parking. You got to make it. We're going to be in Dunwoody, Georgia. Join us. Register now. www.blackberrynaturals.com. See you in the spring. Hey everybody, welcome back to my podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. I am in recovery mode right now. I had my Pink Leaf Retreat last week. It was the 5th annual Pink Leaf Retreat, which brings together an exclusive group of female entrepreneurs. It was phenomenal. We were out in Duluth, Georgia, and we just had a great time. It was networking, it was business talks, it was fellowship among female entrepreneurs that are like-minded, who are really, I tell you, really showing up for their brand. One of the stories that really was so amazing to me, which it just made me feel so good, and it let me know that, well, it further confirmed for me, and I get these confirmations all the time, but sometimes you just need that extra confirmation every now and then. This further confirmed for me that I'm in a place and doing what it is that I was called to do. I'm definitely on my assignment. And what it was is that there were 2 young ladies who came to an event that I did back in March. As you guys know, in March I do my Women's History Month brunch, spring brunch. And they came to the event and they were selling jewelry. They were actually one of my vendors, and they had beautiful jewelry. But the jewelry was from a company, and I'm not even going to mention the company name, but the jewelry, they were representatives for a jewelry company. And I'm sure if you guys pick your brains, you can figure it out. But they expressed their concern with constantly giving up their creativity, constantly being censored about what they can say, how they can say it, because that particular jewelry company wants you to brand, under their name. And rightly so, any company would want that. If you are a seller, a reseller of certain brands, whether it be makeup, jewelry, fashion, that sort of thing. Some companies have certain stipulations on how you use their logo. Even if you kind of rebrand with your own name for your company, they have stipulations and rules and terms and conditions about that as well. So they were very concerned about that because they felt like, we're very creative and we want to make our own jewelry and we want to, push our own brand. We just don't know how to do it. So back in my spring brunch this past March, we did like a branding 101 table of literally the steps on how to get started with your own business and how to really step out on faith and, do it for yourself. And it was so amazing for them to come back now. That was in March. So just a few months later to come back this October, just last week, they came back as a vendor again. I actually had another jewelry vendor that fell through for that weekend, and I just really loved them so much when I had met them back in March that I said, you know what, it was literally 2 days before my event. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't have a jewelry vendor. And I always like to have, a jewelry vendor or something fashion related. And 2 days before my event, I don't have a jewelry vendor. And I said, you know what, let me call these ladies again. So I called them and I said, let me, see if they're available. And lo and behold, they were available, which was just so amazing that they would even be available 2 days before. They just happened to not be doing an event that particular Saturday, which is kind of unusual because they try to fill their calendar at least, every Saturday or through the weekends, doing fairs and doing vendor tables at various events. So the fact that they were available was just that was God ordained right there. It was so amazing that they were available. They came through and it was wonderful because they told me, which I did not know all this time. She was like, I've been meaning to talk to you because my sister and I stepped out on faith and decided to start our own business. So she was no longer selling for that other jewelry company. She and her sister said, we need to look up that document that Renee gave us at the brunch. And she said, we literally followed the steps that you gave. And that led us to starting our own business. We are getting great feedback. They're getting orders coming in. And now they have their own business and now they get to be creative, So I want to truly give a big shout out to Cultured Creations. And that's Cultured with a K and Creations with a K. And it's just amazing. Jasmine Keys and her sister are now doing their own business. And they have beautiful jewelry. If you guys go over and visit my Blackberry Naturals page and you see the video, you will see how great their jewelry is. Very good quality. The jewelry, they do beaded bracelets and waist beads and just a lot of custom things as well. Those beaded bracelets that have the charms hanging from them. They are absolutely wonderful and the quality is top notch. The beads are very heavy, like very quality. It was just wonderful. So I bought a couple pieces from them as well as the other ladies that attended the event. So I just want to give kind of like a little shout out to them. I wanted to say something special about that because what that tells me is that the time that I took to put together that document, and anyone can get this document if you go to my social media at Onyx Queen Media on Instagram. You can actually click on the link in my bio, and that will lead you to a page where you can download that PDF document. But it's basically a branding 101 document and gives you a list of 10 tools in addition to the document. 10 tools to get you jump started with your business. And that's literally what they used to step out and do this. And now they're getting contracts coming in. It's just phenomenal. So shout out to Cultured Creations. I'm loving my bracelets. I've been wearing them every day since. I just absolutely love it. So shout out to those ladies. As you guys know, I always like to give a rundown of the geographic locations for which my podcast has reached. So let me give you the rundown. Of course, there is the United States. Thank you so much. There is the United Arab Emirates. Thank you. Bahamas. Thank you so much. We're thinking about you, Bahamas. We know you guys over there in the Bahamas are still in recovery mode after Hurricane Dorian. So if you guys have not, my listeners, if you have not donated, if you have not, done something to help those folks in the Bahamas, especially the folks on the Abaco Island. Please, do anything that you can, donations, whatever it is. Food is always needed. They're going to be rebuilding. And if you're even able to physically, visit the Bahamas and physically help out as a volunteer, there are so many opportunities and things that you can find to help. Please, definitely, they're going to be in recovery mode for a very long time, several months, probably years. So we're thinking about you, Bahamas, and thank you for tuning in. There's also Australia. Thank you so much. There is Switzerland. Thank you. Austria. Thank you. South Africa. Thank you. Mexico, thank you so much for tuning in. Mexico has a strong listenership, and I'm grateful for it. New Zealand, thank you. United Kingdom, thank you so much. Nigeria was one of the countries that started listening. I don't know who's listening from Nigeria, but thank you so much. They actually started listening. I noticed getting listeners from there maybe 2 months ago, so thank you to my Nigerians. And also Pakistan. Pakistan is new in the last month, so whoever is listening over in Pakistan, thank you tremendously from the bottom of my heart. Like, I really am just floored every single time I see these different countries pop up, and it just makes me feel so great to know that I'm reaching people literally halfway around the world, So again, thank you so much for supporting my podcast, and it's greatly appreciated. So, showing up for your brand. Showing up for your brand is so important. I know that people will get frustrated. I have clients that sometimes get frustrated because they feel like, especially clients that are still working in both worlds, where they have their business as a side hustle and they also are working, in the 9-to-5 world. They often get frustrated, and I can definitely identify with this as well, and I can sympathize with it, because when you're running your own business, you're the boss, you make the decisions, you do what you have to do. And when you are an employee and someone else is your boss and someone else is giving you direction, it can be frustrating, especially if you feel like the person doing that is not really sometimes even qualified to do so, or you feel like you have a better solution, but you don't feel like you're being listened to. That's something that I hear from the 9-to-5 workforce all the time, and how I used to feel as well, that you feel like your ideas weren't being taken seriously. You feel like you had some, better solutions for things, but nobody was really giving you an opportunity to flex your talent the way that you really knew that you could. So I've definitely been in that position many times. And one of the reasons why I decided to no longer serve corporate America anymore, I decided that I was going to serve my own business and build that up within my family. And showing up for your brand is so important. Just as you do with a 9-to-5 job, and you show up to your job and you do your job every single day, and, you have deadlines for things on your job, doing that for your own brand as an entrepreneur. And we know that, my biggest audience are entrepreneurs, so I'm speaking specifically to you, but this goes for the 9-to-5 world as well. When you're building up that side hustle business, you have to show up for your brand. You can't expect, red carpets to be rolled out to you. You've got to show up for your brand. You've got to do some of the work. You just have to. You've got to do the work. I know that there are folks out there. I get people in my DMs so much who, weekly, that just want me to give them the contact person for whatever television station, or how do I get onto this show, or whatever. First of all, Google is your friend. That's number one. And I know that I said that many times on this podcast. You have to do the work, do the research, dig a little, care a little about your brand. Don't just throw things out there. I'll see people throw things up there. They'll throw flyers out there. The flyers are just, you could tell there was no thought process and no true love into what it is they're doing. If you are not good at doing flyers, if you are not good at doing the media stuff on the back end, hire someone to do it. Outsource it. I do flyers for clients, videos, all of that stuff. If you're not good at posting, hire someone to do it. Don't take something that you are not good at and keep trying to beat it with a stick. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Invest in your brand and get someone who has a little bit more expertise to do those things that you may find mundane and you just may not be good at it. And that's okay. Play up to your strength. If your strength is to get in front of people and speak to them face to face, and you want somebody to do something on the back end and handle your posting, handle your brand management, all that sort of stuff, this is what I do for clients every day. You want, your brand manager or your manager or whatever the situation is to run your business in the background so that you can be in the forefront building your empire in the front, then that's fine. But invest in your brand. Show up for your brand. You can't have a team that cares more about the brand than you who started the brand. I often work with clients that may have 2 or 3 people on the team. So I may be one of those team members on the team. And if I bring my assistant in on it, if it's a particularly larger brand and there's a lot of moving parts, I'll bring, an assistant on for that. We can't love your brand more than you do. If you are the one who started this business, you are the one who put the initial sweat equity into starting your business, your LLC or whatever it is, incorporating your business, trademarking, whatever it is that you have done. You started it, but then you don't keep up the momentum to keep it going. And that's a very, very tough thing. You can get discouraged, you can be down, you could be going through personal issues, whatever the case may be, but you must always show up for your brand. This is not the time, especially in the climate that we are in. As far as business is concerned, there is a major concern within finance, the finance world, that we're going towards an economic turndown, which means there will be a lot of layoffs at these 9-to-5 jobs. There will be pay cuts. So if you're an employee, and this goes for government as well, so if you're an employee to someone else, helping someone, another company build their brand, you want to make sure that you have some stuff going on in the background so that you can be solid no matter what happens. We saw what happened just a few months ago towards at the beginning of the year, where there was the government shutdown. And that, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was only 25% of government that was shut down. That was only 25%. 25%. So can you imagine? Look at the damage that shutting down 25% of the government did. Can you imagine if that was doubled into 50%? Or even 75%? You know what I mean? So we have to make sure that if you have a side hustle, you got to show up for that side hustle like you show up for your 9-to-5. And there's nothing wrong with doing both, because I will tell you right now, I did both for a very long time. Both the side hustle and my brand, which is now my full-time business, they overlapped with each other for about 10 years, 11 years. But you've got to show up for your brand. Act like you care about your brand. Perfect your brand. Come up with weekly goals for your brand, for your business, and crush them. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Don't worry about, oh, this person is over here, I would love to do that. Or this person is doing, I would love to do that. Don't worry about that, because honestly, their path is different than yours. Yeah, you may want to do that, but that may not be your path. That may not be the road that you're going to take for your business to be a success. And then I see folks that have successful businesses and then they have zero direction on where to go. So they have something successful that's running, and they've been very fortunate because it's on autopilot, running really well, and then they don't do anything with it. Because they fail to do the research, they fail to do the work, they fail to find all the things or write down all the things that they need to, what they need to do to be successful. So they leave it hanging just out there in the wind, and it's like, okay, you got a great brand, but no direction. So it's like, it's kind of weird because it's like you want, the people are in two different spaces. You got folks that have a great brand that's kind of on autopilot. They're actually pretty fortunate that their brand is still rolling, but they have zero direction. And then you have folks that have all the focus and all the direction, but they don't have the resources to actually start that business or start that brand. So we need for those people to start doing some collaborations. That's why I said, outsource what you're not strong at. So if you have a person that has a great brand and you have the great business mind, but they have zero direction, people with the great business mind need to hook up with the folks that have zero direction. And if you have a great brand and you don't know what to do with it, that's a win-win. But also, again, show up for your brand so that you don't have to worry about what other people are doing. You don't have to worry about if you're in a group project and the other people don't do their work. You will never have to worry about that if you do the work that you need to do for your business. So again, if you want to build your business or you need some starting tools to build your business, visit me on social media at Onyx Queen Media, especially on Instagram, and you can click the link in my bio and there is a downloadable document. It's a PDF document that you can download, and it also gives you 10 resources, like physical actual resources and products and most of them are free. Most of them are free that will help you build your brand, help you show up for your brand. Okay? So I don't want to hear any more excuses about it's so hard, I don't know what to do, and you're feeling frustrated. It doesn't make sense to keep meeting up and do these meeting of the minds with folks, and they're giving you all this help or all of these suggestions and, nuggets of information and wise wisdom, and then you do absolutely nothing with it. We definitely, even for myself, we have to do a better job of showing up for our brands. That's all I got for you guys today. Follow me on any social media at Onyx Queen Media. If you want to email me, feel free to email me your questions at info@onyxqueenmedia.com. Also, on Tuesdays, I have started a series called Talk Tuesday, and that is where I answer questions from my general audience on Instagram. So look out on my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at Onyx Queen Media. Tuesdays, I'll be resuming my Talk Tuesdays, so you can ask any type of question that you want. You can ask business questions and things of that nature, feel free to connect with me there. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye. Thank you so much to all the listeners of the Queenslayer podcast. If you find this podcast helpful, you feel like this podcast has helped you in your business life, helped you to decide if you're going to take that leap into entrepreneurship, or you just love the weekly encouragement, consider supporting us on Patreon. That's www.patreon.com. That's patreon.com/The Queen's Layer. Support us. We want to do amazing things with this podcast, but we can't do it without your help. Consider supporting us on patreon.com/The Queen's Layer. Thank you so much for your continued support.